All right, ladies and gentlemen, MrSotko here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. We're going to talk about the price of crypto, talk about some news stuff, some useless coins. We're going to revisit a couple of coins that I pretty much called out to be scams a while back. And so first and foremost, let's talk about the price and what is going on lately. So we had a pretty big dip. It's going down, and to do a JR business, it's going up, and then it's going down, and all these coins are lit. Wow. So we all kind of figured out that between December and the beginning of February, there was massive sell-offs from the Mt. Gox, Mt. Gaz, however you say it. I've heard it said numerous ways. Trustees were selling off the Bitcoin to pay off the original investors and such. And it was a mountain of Bitcoin, essentially. Some $400 million just in Bitcoin, and then basically millions of dollars as well in Bitcoin Cash. Interestingly enough, that wasn't even all of their Bitcoin that they wanted to sell. They still have, I think it's something like $1 billion in Bitcoin that I heard. It's somewhere around the entirety of the 2% of the entire market cap of Bitcoin that they still want to sell. So there will be some massive dip sooner or later when you see a gigantic red/orange candle. It might just be Mt. Gox doing it again. Sometimes they say Mt. Gox, sometimes they say Mt. Gaz. I don't even think it really matters at this point. So, we had some good prices coming back up. I think that fooled a little bit of people, and whoever sold up here is doing pretty good at the moment. And it might be a good time to pick up some new coins. So I want to talk about Litecoin as well. Litecoin is pretty down as well. Went up a little bit. Not down too much. Maybe relatively compared to Bitcoin. Let's take a look at the chart here. Not down as much as Bitcoin is. Just a tenth of a percent or so. But again, really good time to pick up crypto, especially when it was down to just about 157 there for a while. That was really low. So get your discount sale coin. What's driving it down now? Well, there's not too much of a reason this time around. It's just going up and down, that sort of thing. Normally I like to provide a ton of different reasons. There's a little bit of new FUD coming around. There's a lot of thievery. There's a lot of talks of regulation, and it's just not too good. So one good thing that came about from the Mt. Gox incident, if you will, or at least the sell-off, the recent sell-off, is that it at the very least it put a lot of Bitcoin in the hands of many different people who bought it, rather than having 2-3% of the entirety of Bitcoin all in the hands of one person off of the market. It did flood the market a little bit, and that lowers prices. It puts it in, floods the market, if you will, and therefore demand goes down just a little bit. But it does spread it out a little bit more for payments and use as a currency in itself. So that's a good thing. But just because the price goes down a little bit, it doesn't really mean too much of a bad thing. Really good time to pick up some crypto. Unfortunately, for those who have been holding it for a long time in the high teens, well, you've got a long wait ahead of you. However, I believe by the end of December 2018, somewhere around December 2018, rather more like mid-December, as it's usually the case of one of the highest prices of the year, it should be back to possibly where it was, 20,000. I made a prediction video a couple weeks ago, and I predicted somewhere between like 20 and 30,000 by 2018. And I know that seems a little bit low compared to some people's predictions, but I feel that it's a conservative estimate. And the estimates from some people saying 100,000 or even some as ridiculous as $1 million would just mean that we're looking at trillions of dollars in Bitcoin cap, and I just don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Maybe one day when crypto takes over, the whole world essentially. Because as right now, it does seem like the whole world uses crypto. It's actually a very, very, very small amount of the entirety of the world monetary supply in terms of stocks and dividends and property values and everything, in between. It's a very, very small market compared to, or rather, crypto is a very small market compared to the rest of the planet. I do believe that one day Ethereum will overtake Bitcoin as overall it's a much more useful coin, and it's sort of closing in on it slowly. We're looking at 67 billion compared to 148 billion, and yeah, that's a pretty big difference. You know, borderline 2.5 times. But I think sooner or later here, I think people will start to realize how important Ethereum is compared to Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin doesn't do anything too special, to be totally honest. I love Bitcoin. I love cryptocurrency. Obviously, I have a YouTube channel about it. But if you really think about it, Bitcoin doesn't do anything particularly special. Yes, it's great as a currency. It's great as a store of wealth. But Ethereum is also a great store of wealth. It's also a great currency. You can pay people in it. You can receive in it, just the same as Bitcoin. Yet it does more than Bitcoin. You can actually store bits of information into the blockchain itself and therefore create applications with the blockchain, unlike Bitcoin. However, if Bitcoin decides to do something like Ethereum maybe later on and changes it up so that you can write information to the blockchain, that would be a pretty huge game changer. So enough with the price there. Honestly, don't really have too many reasons for the price going up and down right now. A bit fuddy. If you go around to the Bitcoin news sites, there's nothing too particularly positive right now. Similar to late December, when there was a ton of FUD. Late November and late December, there was a ton of FUD. There's all kinds of things, you know, the Korean FUD and things like that. So you know, taking a look at the prices, the lowest one today is Populous, and so unfortunately that's way down. I think somebody on my channel actually, when I was making a video on crypto prices dipping, they were like, "Oh, please don't be Populous," and unfortunately for you, commenter, Populous is the loser of the day. However, the winner of the day apparently is Byteball Bytes. What? So this brings me into something else that I wanted to talk about. I sort of look at this coin market cap. I look at it a few times a day and just, you know, just sort of study some of these coins and look at some of the coins. It's sort of interesting to look at all these coins and see the different names and different market caps and how much they've gone up and things like that. And, you know, you can't help but to notice how many useless coins there are. Now, don't get me wrong, there are plenty of coins in here that are quite useful, but the majority of them are indeed pretty useless. So I don't remember how many coins. I think you can see it somewhere, like the total. View all. Yes, view all. And you can see the number of coins that are actually listed on CoinMarketCap. And let's see if we can just rock it down. Okay, so 1,556. So now we got Monero Gold on there as well. And it doesn't really have too much information about it. So a lot of these really low ones don't have a lot of information to them. And mind you, this 1,556 is probably maybe half of all the cryptocurrencies that are in existence, or if you combine that also with all the ICOs that are popping up as well. And you actually have to sort of contact CoinMarketCap. I'm not exactly sure how it works. I've never made my own coin. I would love to, but you know, it just goes to show, I think everybody would like to make their own coin in some way, because we all have really great ideas for cryptocurrencies, but easier said than done. But it just goes to show that to put a crypto and list it on CoinMarketCap is sort of a there has to be an effort on your part in order to do that. And so there are many more than just this. So the top coins all have their own uses. I mean, Monero is very private. It sort of conceals all the addresses in which it sends to and receives from, you know, and Bitcoin, of course, is the top. Bitcoin is what everybody talks about. Ethereum is the coin that everybody writes applications and makes smart contracts with. That's honestly what most new coins are Ethereum-based. ERC20 tokens are based on Ethereum. All these new odd coins that you see coming out, 9 out of 10 times it's an Ethereum-based token. So Ripple is sort of they like the banks, the institutions like to use Ripple, and that's not really a bad thing, because sending money across the planet is a very difficult process. You know, if you use Western Union, you pay a big fee. If you use a bank, you pay a big fee. Again, it's a very big process, a very difficult process, and it's a very timely process too. Often, if you don't use like something like Western Union, and you just try to do a bank transfer to somebody across the globe or something like that, you're going to be waiting many business days for that to go through. And you can notably see that with something like Coinbase or any of the exchanges where you try to use some kind of bank transfer to put some of your money on an exchange so that you can buy coins. You're going to be waiting 6 or 7 business days for that to go through 9 out of 10 times, unless you use a wire transfer, which is egregiously expensive. So that's kind of where Ripple comes into play, and they'll just send Ripple somewhere, and then they'll give you the money on that end. So there was never a real fiat transaction. Instead, they just received Ripple, and then they gave you the money from that. So it's pretty innovative. Bitcoin Cash is... Litecoin is, I feel, is a better currency than Bitcoin. Way less fees, way faster confirmation times in order to receive your Litecoin. I bought a graphics card using Litecoin, and it was a personal transaction. We basically just scanned phones, and within a couple of minutes, he's like, "Yep, got my Litecoin. All right, good deal." And we waved each other goodbye. So it just goes to show a lot of these coins do have uses, but then you get into these interesting coins that are I've seen a lot of ICOs where they say, this blah 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 coin is a great cryptocurrency for transactions, in place of money. And I think to myself, well, it's kind of silly, because in the end, aren't all cryptocurrencies supposed to be a currency? And so if you make a new currency, a new crypto, and one of your pros, or one of your bullet points of your cryptocurrency is that it makes a great currency, a great digital currency, well, go figure. That's like saying, when you're selling a Honda, you're selling a car, and you're like, this is a great car for moving from place to place. You're like, well, I mean, sell me more on this car. I mean, the car is supposed to move from place to place anyway. Any car is supposed to do that. Why sell me this car? So that's not a very good bullet point to sell your cryptocurrency. So I wanted to talk about, we'll just close this, and I want to talk about a couple currencies real quick. And this is Useless Ethereum Token. It's a real cryptocurrency. That's right. Useless Ethereum Token. It's a big middle finger. They actually raised supposedly $300,000 in their ICO. And in their ICO, they specifically stated that this coin may be a scam, and that it's useless, and it will go nowhere. And let's see if it's even on markets here. It's on HitBit, HitBitcoin, and a volume of $1. So it basically is not. Only useless Ethereum token to Ethereum traded on there, and a volume of $1. Congratulations. So apparently people put $300,000 into this cryptocurrency, and it's going nowhere. So, I mean, if you look at it, it's just, it's slowly going down technically, but it's borderline flat and useless. So whoever made this token basically made $300,000 off of their ICO. So yeah, another one is Ponzi coin. It's literally a Ponzi pyramid, and surprisingly, people are buying it, and the price is actually slightly going up. Technically, the 24-hour period it is down, but overall it's slightly up, and that just kind of blows my mind that people are actually buying this. It has a $52,000 market cap. And it's just a joke coin. It literally is a joke coin, and people bought a ton of it, hoping to sell it immediately when it hits an exchange. Let's see if it's even on it. It's on Yobit, a total volume of a whole $42 there, and I don't know how up to date coin market cap really is, but obviously pretty low. So there's all that. Some interesting news is that hackers target 400,000 computers with mining malware. So more than 400,000 personal computers have been attacked in a large-scale attempt to distribute cryptocurrency mining malware. The hackers use sophisticated Trojans to infect PCs, mostly in Russia, but also in Turkey, Ukraine, and other countries. A coordinated assault lasted more than 12 hours. So Windows Defender blocked more than 80,000 instances of it. of the several sophisticated Trojans. Obviously not that sophisticated if Windows Defender blocks it. And interestingly, the malware mined Electronium. So clearly they wanted to only hit computers with CPUs. Obviously, all computers have CPUs, but the thing is that not all computers have a big GPU. Of course, they have some kind of GPU, but honestly, most computers have an integrated GPU. You know, if you just have a family computer, your mom or dad's kind of computer kind of thing, where they just went out to Walmart or they just went to some department store and they bought a computer so they could get online and read their emails, likely it does not have a GPU. You would know if you bought a computer that has a GPU because of the price that you paid for it. When you pay like $1,800 or more or something like that for a desktop PC or something like that, likely it had a GPU in it because you paid a good amount. But if you just went out and bought a $500-600 PC or something like that, or even a $300 PC, there's no GPU in there for sure. Either that or it's a very, very old one. So it's most likely just an integrated, which you plug your monitor into. And therefore, you can't really set up some mining software for that. I've actually heard of people successfully running an Intel GPU, but the hash rate is just unbearably slow, so bad that it would just be worse than your CPU alone. So they targeted Electronium, which is a kryptonite algorithm, which CPUs and high-end AMD graphics cards are very good at because of the HBM2, the fast RAM, and your CPU is really good at kryptonite algorithm as well, because if I read correctly, kryptonite, something with the L3 cache, it relies on the L3 cache of your processor, which is exceedingly fast, although it's very, very small amount, very, very, very small amount of cache, if you will. It's kind of RAM, you could kind of call it, but it's more of a cache, and it's exceedingly fast. It's one of the fastest parts of your computer entirely, and so it just sort of relies on that to process information over and over. That's why you always see your computer mining some kind of kryptonite algorithm, particularly nice hash users. So when you fire up your CPU and your GPU, you'll notice your CPU is always mining kryptonite because it's really good at it. As well as some AMD cards. NVIDIA, not so much because they use slower RAM, but superior processing chips inside them, so they kind of run something different. So interestingly, they mined Electronium, but I'm not even really sure why they mined Electronium, because Electronium is a very, very low price right now, and sure, it mines quickly, but again, it's very low. I think Electronium is down to 5 or 6 cents a coin, so kind of an odd target there. I guess I would probably go for Monero, but I don't know, maybe they did the math or something like that, and they thought that they could make a little bit more with Electronium. Only problem with Electronium is it only trades on Cryptopia. So, either way, wouldn't have been my first choice. A Bitcoin Twitter war is raging, and no account is safe. So this one is really, really long, but I started reading it, and I read through the majority of it until I was like, this is just kind of propaganda. But, so paging at Bitcoin, these tweets don't help anyone. So at first glance, the tweet from investor and entrepreneur Nick Tomeno, that's close to tomato. That'd be funny. Might not be distinguishable in the all-out flame war that crypto Twitter and crypto social media has become. But while the situation has long been simmering, tomatoes tweets comes at what might be a new boiling point following what was arguably the account's most controversial message in history. I don't know about that, but so Bitcoin has been pretty notorious for deeply supporting Bitcoin Cash in recent events, and so the Bitcoin they created a Twitter poll here, and here's what it says. It says the Bitcoin Core community relies on the internet hate mobs, trolls, sock puppets, censorship, DDoS attacks, vote manipulation, harassment, and character assassinations. And then it says the Bitcoin Cash community is welcoming, supportive, and appreciates freedom. Which do you prefer? And overwhelmingly, 74% are Bitcoin Core supporters, while just 26% Bitcoin Cash. So actually, this is at first I thought this was a joke, and I thought it was one of those psychological questions where, because when you're doing a poll and you go out and you do a poll, usually like the one that you put in a more positive light, regardless of what people think, will end up getting upvoted more the way you word things. And so I thought this was worded in a completely opposite manner, because from what I have seen, from a completely... Now, I am biased against Bitcoin Cash, but I do like to pride myself on still being sort of a neutral centrist sort of stance on most cryptocurrencies. If... For example, Ripple. I understand how a lot of people don't like Ripple because it's extremely centralized and banks use it, and that's sort of the opposite of why crypto came about in the first place. Yet I'm centralized I'm a neutral in the sense that, like, devil's advocate, saying that, well, if you want to make money, you know, you invest in Ripple and it goes back up to, you know, nearly $5, or maybe by the end of the year it's something like $6 or $7 or something like that. You just made yourself quite the profit. So I can look at things two ways. However, I looked at this question, I thought it was in reverse. I imagined that normally the way you would write this out is that you would take this second here, and the community is welcoming, supportive, and appreciates freedom for the Bitcoin core, and then the community that relies on internet hate mobs, trolls, sock puppets, censorship. So internet hate mobs is essentially... Whoop, didn't mean to click on that. Is essentially... you know, trolls. There's sock puppets, which is Roger Ver in a complete nutshell. Censorship, you know, DDoS attacks, vote manipulation, and then, you know, why not just add manipulation in terms of price and manipulation in terms of selling ant miners in Bitcoin Cash. And I figured it would be the opposite, and then of course people would vote for Bitcoin Core because of the way that they worded it. So they tried to word this oppositely, so that, you know, the Bitcoin Cash community is welcoming, supportive, and appreciates freedom. And you would imagine that more people would vote for this. Oh, I keep clicking on it. Excuse me. I keep clicking on it. And you would imagine that more people would vote for the Bitcoin Cash because of the way that this was worded. But people just don't like Bitcoin Cash. 74% of people don't like Bitcoin Cash. And this Twitter has like 800,000 followers. So that's quite the pool to get a really good statistical amount of people. So 17,437 people voted on this, and out of that 17,400 people, 74%. So just goes to show. It's a Bitcoin price graph. So Bitcoin broke the critical support of 9,500 yesterday, and hit an intraday low of 9,000, which is just below 50% Fibonacci retracement of the recent pullback. So the bulls bought the dip and pushed the prices back to 9,500. The Bitcoin US dollar pair is still not out of the woods yet because it is still trading inside the descending channel. So crypto prices are going down again, but not too bad. Just think about it as a you know, a nice sale for crypto. However, I don't understand why people are selling right now. If you're selling right now, I think you're a little silly. Unless you're trying to short yourself for a huge crash, which is a possibility. There's no reason to sell right now. It's so ridiculous. That's like going out to Best Buy and getting yourself a nice 80-inch ultra high definition television, and then promptly coming home and putting up a yard sale sign in the front of your yard, and then putting up the TV for, you know, a quarter. It makes no sense. If you're going to buy right now, just hold till the price doubles again. Investing is a long-term thing, people. Sure, there's day trading, but that's on little levels. You never, like, day trade everything. You never, like... It shouldn't crash anything just simply day trading. You're just scalping, you know, little bits of profits and everything, even if everybody's doing it. It's not that big of a deal. Investing is a long-term thing. You should be buying now and holding it for 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, that sort of thing, or even longer. So Ethereum also not doing too good. I kind of want to read the Litecoin one because I am, of course, always interested in Litecoin. Litecoin broke and closed below the descending triangle on March 8th. But the bulls quickly pushed the price back up above 185 on March 9th. In the case the bulls fail to sustain above 185, chances are that Litecoin pair will fall to 160 and then to 140 levels as both moving averages have flattened out. And we might see range-bound trading for a few days. Once we get the levels of that range, we may attempt to trade it. So, you know, for anybody that doesn't know, you should really learn about Fibonacci retracements. And so this is a Fibonacci retracement right here. And I was never much of a mathematician in college. So if you want to get some real good knowledge of Fibonacci, you should really do that research yourself. However, Fibonacci is basically based on numbers that have a lot to do with each other. So basically, Fibonacci numbers are like 1, 1, 2, 3, and so on. So it's basically 1 plus 1 equals 1, or 1 plus 1 equals 2, and then 2 plus 1 equals 3, and so on. And you get this series of numbers as you go up, and there's a lot of interrelated things about them. Again, I never really cared for math all that much, and I understand that's a little odd, you know, because I'm investing. But you don't really need to be busting out some serious calculus for day trading. Just, did you make money? Congratulations. That was it. I didn't have to do any quadratic equations to make $10 in a trade. I didn't have to do quadratic equations to make $50 a day or something trading. So, so Fibonacci, so it goes 23.6%, 38.20%, and in this case 50, 61, 78, and so one thing that I always find about Fibonacci retracements is that they're extremely subjective. So you can see how that this is put, and the more you drag this out, the different Fibonacci levels you're going to have. And so if you started your Fibonacci tracement up here and decided to drag it out to here to see what's going to happen next, you're going to get a totally different number than if you decide to start it here and all the way down here and then drag it. So these are extremely subjective. However, a lot of traders rely on this. Like, they live and breathe on Fibonacci retracements. So you can see that this price down here, it got to the bottom Fibonacci there, it broke it a little bit, and likely what will happen is that it gets down to here. Once it gets down to here, people will start to buy it up in mass, and then it'll start to go up. And if it breaks down past that, it will likely go down to the even lower one. And so people live and breathe that, and they won't trade, or they will trade based on the price it is compared to their Fibonacci graph. So again, if you really want to be a good trader, definitely learn the Fibonacci graph. Even if you don't need it, a Fibonacci retracement, I just call it the graph, whatever. Even if you don't use it that much, it's good to have, because you can see once something breaks that, people won't touch it. Major traders won't touch it until it gets to the next level that you saw, which I know is weird and makes basically no sense, but very little makes a lot of sense in the investment world. So like South Korean FUD comes along and then everybody just sells all their cryptocurrency. Why? Like, what was the point of that? Why? It's because just investors are scared like horses. And, you know, Apple messes up or something like that, and they say something racist or something like that in a Twitter, their stock will just bomb. Right? If they do something weird, or they create a bad product or something like that, their stock will bomb. People will sell it and they'll get out because they think that other people are going to do it, and that's it. So it's a crazy world. So now I want to talk about two things. I want to talk about these two coins, Arbiter Coin and Thorn Coin. Both are lending coins and staking coins. I believe both are staking coins as well. I know Arbiter Coin is. I made 2 videos about this, maybe going on 2 months ago. I'm not really sure the exact date. And when I made these videos, I got an unbelievable amount of flack. Normally, I can take flack just fine. I mean, as a YouTuber, I guess, I don't even like to call myself that, but as somebody on YouTube, you receive all kinds of comments all the time, right? So you get used to it really quick. It's kind of like that episode of South Park where Butters had to... He had to like filter the Twitter messages of Demi Lovato or whatever, and he was like, "Oh, it's such a dark place," because like all the Twitter messages were just so horrible, and he had to filter them out so that like all the actors and like kids in school could just have nothing but fun, nice comments, positive comments. And it's kind of like that as a YouTuber. Like you just have to wade through the darkness, you know. And I took huge flack. I mean, it was unbelievable. And in fact, one day with Arbiter Coin, on my Arbiter Coin video, I got about 1,000 dislikes or something like that in one day. So what that tells me is that Arbiter Coin has bots, and they went on to my video, and they must have disliked it. I would show you that, but I don't want to bring up my analytics like right in front of everybody. So, but it's true. Maybe I'll bring it up or something in another video. But it's true. I got like hundreds of dislikes on that video, and it was weeks after I made the video. So it wasn't like that day or just like an accumulation of dislikes. Trust me, I run a YouTube channel, so I know analytics, and I know something false and like a false positive when I see one. And there was hundreds of dislikes on the video that I made, and this was weeks after I made it. So what I'm thinking was happening is that you know, they must have came and disliked it. So they bought a bunch of bots and separate accounts to dislike it. And I turned off the comments of Thorncoin and Arbiter Coin because I was getting a lot of flack, and this was just before the BitConnect went down. And I was saying that these two lending coins are scams, and everybody's going to lose their money. And everybody's like, "Oh no, you don't know what you're talking about," basically. So I basically shut those videos down so that nobody would get the wrong idea, that nobody would see other people's comments saying that he doesn't know what he's talking about or something like that. That you're fine, you're not going to lose your money, just invest into it. Because I was trying to basically save everybody, and I didn't even want to deal with it. Like I was sure, positive, I know it, I get it. Trevon James started to spam Thorncoin eventually, and so both of these are still going at the moment. However, I wanted to bring up some things. So, for example, if you click on this and you check the comments here, all transactions are back from the back office to the offline wallet to stake your ATC, Arbiter Coin, from the back to the external exchange. And what is the reason ATC isn't listed on CoinMarketCap? It takes a while. We're in the queue. Can't even log in. Login works now. So far, so good. But right, you know, they're responding. And check this out, though. So it doesn't work. Error code 403 to get his payout. It says the payout works now. Can't get coins. The payout works. And basically says doesn't work. Getting this error message. Same error everyone gets. So that's not it. That's not all. That's not all. Check this out. It just keeps going. And it says the pay, like, I want to withdraw from my Bitcoin wallet. I need to withdraw from my Bitcoin wallet. I don't have an option. The payout works. The payout works. Also shows that the sending transaction failed. I need to transfer 100 ATC to stock exchange, but it doesn't work. The payout works. Payout not works. It's only a fake button. And they just keep saying the same thing. The payout works. The payout works. It just keeps going. That's all they say. So it's clearly somebody who doesn't know what they're talking. Payouts are possible. Payouts are possible. Payouts are possible. They just keep spamming the same thing, and it's really, really odd how they're doing that. So don't be surprised when Arbiter Coin up and leaves after taking all of anyone's money. So Thorncoin is a little bit better in terms of not being a complete bot system. But check this out. This was a weird comment. So we are continuing to work on new features for our platform. We're also working very hard, so everything is in place to hit an external exchange by the end of March. And then there was this weird reply here. It says, replying to @Thorncoin, MrSotko, YouTube username, this clown face broke his headgear after getting burned by his prized Falcon coin this week. First of all, what are you talking about? Are you actually talking about my headgear? This isn't broken. I never broke my headgear. I'm not sure if that's what he's talking about or not. Not broken. Getting burned? I never invested into Falcon coins, so I never got burned. Not at all. My prized Falcon coin? First of all, I've never promoted Falcon coin, so I don't know what he's talking about with prized Falcon coin. I only made one video saying that Falcon coin up and left, and they did. It was an exit scam. So that's one of the strangest comments I've ever come across, and that wasn't at me or anything. So I would have never seen this comment unless I just happen to click on this. So that is really strange. Like, what does that even mean? So I basically had to comment that I never invested in Falcon coin. I called this an arbiter coin out to be a scam a long time ago. What does this even mean? And honestly, there's not a lot of there's a bit of FUD on Thorn coin and arbiter coin for good reason. So you know, what it is. And again, I think arbiter coin has bots. Because if you Google arbiter coin, my video is actually like the 6 or like some odd down in Google. It says on after further research, arbiter coin is a scam, and so that's really bad for them. They definitely can't. They definitely don't want that, because they don't want. First of all, they don't want people knowing that it's a scam, and second of all, it definitely hurts their business, because when you Google arbiter coin, my video shows up in the Google on the very first page, like 6 down. Baby screaming in the background, but on like the 6 down. So that hurts them a lot. So I think they sicked bots on my account. And maybe I'll just squeeze this video together, and I'll make a quick addendum like right after this. So hope you guys enjoyed this video today, and don't invest into Thorn coin or arbiter coin, because you're almost certainly going to lose your money at some point, whether it be a week, a day, a month, 2 months. It's going to go down, and they're just going to up and leave. One, because they don't have any kind of development team, doesn't show their customer support, doesn't show where you can contact them. Well, this is support at Thorn coin. Well, that's great, but you don't know anybody that made it. You don't know anybody that made arbiter coin. But I will try to show you that those analytics. And if this video just ends here, then you know that I guess I couldn't show the analytics or something like that. But I wanted to show you the amount of dislikes I got in one day, which is basically impossible. But I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. Alrighty, so I wanted to show you this. I wanted to show you these analytics a little bit here, just to sort of prove my point. So if you Google arbiter coin, my video is right here. So it's just like basically the 6 or so, 1 down, pointing out that they're a scam. And then you can't really find too much else. Well, it's actually somebody else's video is for sure a scam. Earn up to 60% a month. Oh yeah, no, totally. And a bunch of fake articles and things like that on arbiter coin. And if you take a look here, so this is my dislikes for the past about 28 days or so. So I made the arbiter coin video on January 15th. And this date is the 19th. So you can see my average dislikes that I get. There's a little spike there. You know, once in a while you get a spike oh dislikes, and that's fine, whatever. But you can see it's normally just, you know, 9, 12 a day, 18 a day, you know, 22, 24 or so. So nothing special. So you see this gigantic spike, and when you're a YouTuber, you're like, man, what was this giant spike for? And you click on it, and sure enough, 202 dislikes. Not a single like on that video that day. Just 202 likes out of nowhere. So that's almost for sure some kind of bot, bot system from arbiter coin in order to dislike the video, to push it down, and you know, try to convince people that maybe my video was fake, or that I don't know what I'm talking about, or something like that. So that's pretty much proof that arbiter coin in itself is a scam. But they don't realize that adding that many dislikes to my video is actually 202 engagements, and therefore it actually pushes my YouTube video up further in terms of Google and YouTube results. So thank you, arbiter coin. If that was you and your bots, you guys are stupid. But I hope you guys enjoyed it, and once again, I'll see you guys next time.